But before we get started, I just wanted to mention this is our Women in Code volunteer team here. We have Zainab and Kirthikka, our lead and our volunteer, here to help us deliver this material and get you acclimated to the challenge. I'm Lindsey. I am the fellow for the data science track, and I'm so glad you're with us. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and move forward. Yep, there you all know me. I'm always open. My DMs are always open. Don't be shy. Feel free to reach out. So real quick, our mission is to empower diverse women to excel in technology careers. Our vision is a tech industry where diverse women and historically excluded people thrive at every level. And we take our code of conduct seriously here. We are for all people who are interested in tech, and we're here to elevate them and make their experience accepting and safe. So we are open and willing to protect all of the individuals that would like to participate here. So if you should experience anything that violates our code of conduct and any harassment towards you, we do not tolerate. So feel free to access the code of conduct there, where there's also an incident report form. And I monitor the channels pretty closely, so I'm hoping to create a rewarding and safe environment for everyone. We have some events coming up. Of course, this is our kickoff for the Kaggle EDA. It'll go on for the next 7 days, and I'll go over the schedule shortly here. But after that, in February, we're doing a data product ideation webinar with the product manager of the Tableau Pulse release, and he has some insights to share about how to ideate your next data product in the age of AI. So I hope you join us. And of course, the other links are here. I'll pause for a moment to use the QR code if you'd like to stay connected. Hopefully you'll follow us on all of our socials and you stay involved as well. We can all help amplify each other's networks. Great. So if you are with me here today, I wanted to just make sure that you have done a couple things. You have joined the Slack account for data science, and you have set your notifications on the Days of Code Kaggle channel. Zainab will walk you through how to do that in a moment. And you can access the participant drive now. It is live for all viewers. You can access the participant drive from this channel, where it'll have all the information that you need to participate. So some suggestions are to check the Slack channel daily. If you set your notifications, you'll go ahead and see all the, either the mentions or all of the activity that's happening on the channel. But feel free to check in daily. That's the only request. Complete your checklist before January 31st, and that's Eastern time zone. January 31st is when we will announce prizes, and we'll talk about that in just a moment here. So your tasks will be this. So you will select a skill level. There's a track for beginner, immediate, or advanced. You can complete the daily tasks, and you can move ahead if you like, but the goal is not to spend too much of your life, daily on this. It's just to enhance your daily activities. And we'll have the mentors in Slack be posting reminders and motivations to help you stay connected to the tasks and moving forward each day. You'll work in a notebook, a Kaggle notebook or a Google Colab, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And you'll spend from 30 minutes to an hour a day, and then just move on. We're not looking for perfection, we're just looking for progress. And we will talk about how to polish that up later. You don't have to worry too much about being judged on your presentation, but we wanted to give you some tips and tricks on how to elevate that, because of course, if you put the effort doing this work with the challenge, you might want to share it with your network, and highlight the work that you put in. So we'll tell you how to do that, although you will not be judged on that. And you'll use the checklist to note your progress. So how does submission work? So before January 31st in any time zone, we will post a link for the submission link. So basically you will just submit your email address. So we have your email for the raffle drawing, and you'll submit your link to your Kaggle notebook for the final day. And then the submissions are confidential, but you'll see that if you wanted to win the prize, one of the criteria is that you share your notebook on the Slack channel for all to see, because we are in this for learning and for motivation and for helping each other out. So part of this whole experience is to just immerse yourself in the community of others who are wanting to work alongside you. So for the drawing, We will have you complete the daily EDA task appropriate to your skill level track. You complete the notebook in Kaggle and submit the form on Slack on the final day, and that will populate in the channel on the day that you need to submit. You'll post your work on the Slack channel to be considered. And if you want a bonus entry for the raffle, then you will provide kind and constructive feedback on others' challenges, because this is all about learning and sharing and lifting one another up. What is the prize? Well, a Women Who Code gift card where you can shop at our Women Who Code store and select any swag that you like, anything that you can show off your pride with. Fantastic. So while we will not be sharing all the ins and outs of Kaggle, we'll touch on it briefly here today. And hopefully you are all familiar, but if you're not, you're in good company still. It's a pretty easy platform to learn. And it is a platform for data science and machine learning. And some key features are they host competitions that are officially hosted. They store data sets, and participants and users can add data sets as well. There's an IDE for notebooks in there as well, and discussion forums where you can learn, community and collaboration focus on that. And then also a lot of users will actually post tutorials in their notebooks, which is really helpful for your learning experience. So we'll get into the details of using a Kaggle notebook later, but it's very similar to what you're used to any other IDE you use, especially Jupyter Notebooks or Colab. It operates with cells and markdown text cells, and you can run them, and we'll show you how to do that in a little bit. There's also going to be an explanation. Zainab's going to share with us the resource bank that's available to you in the participant drive. That'll have plenty of tutorials to walk you through how to do this. So just to clarify the Kaggle submission, we are not submitting any official Kaggle competition, so this is very low stress. Your notebook is enough for us, but this is a great practice for the future. So if you wanted to get involved in Kaggle competitions, or you wanted to highlight your work on your GitHub repo, this would be a fantastic way to elevate your work process and to kind of get comfortable with these types of things so that you can later on work on official challenges, which have much higher prizes sometimes than what we are offering. So it's definitely worth a look. Okay, and then when you're exploring Kaggle datasets, we'll get into this in a little bit as well, you want to understand the details. So you'll see things like description, the quality of the dataset, the size, the format, and your download options. And that is the majority of the functionality within the datasets that are hosted there. And it's pretty easy user interface. You'll see in our resource bank and the tutorials, and then Kirthikka is going to show you some screenshots of how to maneuver around there, and she'll go into details on the data sets we have chosen for your challenges. And here they are now. You'll find this list in the participant resource drive, and you can select one, and they're all linked to the data set in Kaggle, so you don't have to maneuver there yourself. And you can feel free to explore and hop around. There's no timeline to when you have to pick. You can actually just complete this whole challenge if you want in one day, although we wanted to design this so that it's not too time consuming. But I would recommend spending some time today to just look through the data set so you're ready to roll when we move on with our first day of the challenge tomorrow. Okay, I will go ahead and pass it over to Kirthikka, and she will walk us through some more details about making the most out of this challenge. Go ahead, Kirthikka.
Yeah, thank you, Lindsey. Hi, I'm Kirthikka Devi Venkataram. As you know, I'm a lead at Women Who Code Data Science community. So here I am to navigate you through the process of getting yourself comfortable with any data science project that is provided to you in hand. As we all know, every data science project comes under, follows a cycle of process that it requires to adhere to the industry standards. Like initial step would be like to know about the data cleaning process, and the second step would be to feature engineering. The third one is to model the data set, create a model out of the data set, and the fourth would be to analyze and provide visualization. And the fifth is predicting and submitting your modeling results. So in this particular chain of process that undergoes for any data science project, we are going to consider the dataset level into three types, or categorized, segregated the datasets into three types, mainly as beginner levels, intermediate level, and experience level, based on the skill set of the audience uh, that might interest your future growth. So in this thought of line, the beginner level data set is, it's going to be a clean data set. You don't have to do any pre-processing, which means like you don't have to handle any missing values or reputation processing that requires to be done, that requires concentration on that particular area to be done. And they are out of outlier detection as well. So it's a pretty much simple data set which is provided to you in hand. There are five data sets which is available already. We have handpicked the data sets ourselves and then kept it for you to navigate and make your life easy so that it becomes an interesting task for you over a period of time. And the second step is like we do not want to stress on the kernel or the console restriction for this particular data sets that has been considered. In this case, you are free to use the data set for beginner level data sets on any of the platform that you wish to adhere to. It might be a Kaggle, it might be a Jupyter Notebook, or it might be any other platform, IDE platform that supports the processing or modeling of a data science project. Ultimately, what we wanted is we need to transfer it to the Kaggle platform. We need an interconnection between the Kaggle platform and your notebook. That could be obviously done with all the presets and widgets which is available already inbuilt in Kaggle. So the second type of dataset is the intermediate level. Here, with the intermediate level of dataset, or participants are expected to perform certain data pre-processing technique, like they have to do some scaling and normalization methods that you need to perform on the dataset. It also has some outlier, so take care while doing these pre-processing on your data. You can also perform any of the feature engineering in this particular level of dataset, but most of the datasets are quite easy for you to handle, so you don't have to worry much about the skill level that requires to attempt an intermediate level data science project. And the third one is the advanced level. Here you are required to pay attention on the feature engineering aspects, which means like the feature creation, feature transformation, the extraction, selection, and scaling of the feature. All of these might be there or might not be there. One or two might be there in all the five datasets which you are going to try it out. So there you have to pay attention on the platform that you're working on, which means like the kernel and the console should support for higher uh, consumption of power, which means like the GPU power is required for you to perform the task. This makes you to plan ahead of your resources before jumping into dissecting the data set and moving forward with the ML steps that is there for everybody to move forward. So data storytelling and data engagement aspects are like in this 7 days Kaggle data challenge concentrates on the type of data that we are going to adhere to. So data are like categorized into qualitative and quantitative. As we know, qualitative data sets is like again segregated as nominal and ordinal, and quantitative as discrete and continuous. Use your own data set to generate new knowledge, new actions, new stories, and analyzing difficult materials and pointing out to crucial details in your data set is what is expected from your presentation and your exploratory data analysis. Data could be like the data set might contain a single value, or it could be a distributed data, or it could be a trend. You have to get in touch with the type of plot that gives you more insights about the data that you are dissecting. So that is what is the underlying challenge, like most of us would face, more than developing an ML model. So here are a few tips for you to adhere to the categorical to the qualitative and the quantitative data set that is provided to you. So when you have a categorical data, it's best to use a bar chart, dual axis bar column, dual axis bar chart, column chart, or the dot plot. There is no hard and fast rule to follow only this particular chart in when you have a categorical data. It might be like you can do scaling on it, you can do normalization process on it, and then you can modify and then you can project it in a different format as well. It depends on the feature engineering that you perform ultimately. So when you're supposed to compare or when you have a comparison between two variables, then you can use scatter plot, bubble chart, pie chart, radar chart, contour plot, and bullet chart. These give you wonderful insights about the data that you are projecting. Similarly, for distribution data, you can use box plot, heat map, violin chart, network chart, map-based charts, and histogram, which will give you greater in-depth detail about the data. So speaking in this line of thought, Lindsey, can we go to the next slide? Speaking in this line of thought, we set up the Kaggle platform especially for the advanced dataset. Both intermediate and beginner dataset doesn't require you the GPU or TPU power, though you are free to use it. When you check for the advanced level of dataset that you have to work on, it's better to use a GPU or TPU where you might avoid crashes when you are trying to manipulate with the dataset. So here is a glimpse of how you would be able to set it up. It's just settings, a click setting that could be done on the Kaggle platform, which is quite easy for everybody to do that. The snapshot is already provided to you. You can go through this later when you are moving forward during your 30 minutes challenge in this 7-day Kaggle challenge. Yeah, next slide. Okay. When I speak about the different types of visualization, there are certain visualization that is unique to the libraries that we use. Similarly, it has been provided for the Colab platform. Colab platform, you need to take the dataset, the sample data folder should be loaded with the dataset that you're working on, and similarly, you have the CPU and T4 GPU like TPU and the GPU support, which is available in the Colab platform. You also have a navigation between the Colab, IPYNB, and Kaggle, which could be linked together using the small setting. And that is also even easily navigatable to your GitHub, which Kaggle currently supports, navigating your code to GitHub. A showcasing platform where you can showcase your work. Okay. Next slide. So it's better to use Kaggle platform for this particular challenge if you do not have much computing resources, or if you don't want to spend on installing much of libraries. Colab has a very good set of libraries which is pre-installed already, and it has a good support system available. So you can start working in Colab and then connect it to Kaggle at last. So it depends on your ease, and it depends on your own resource level that is required. So next we move on to the important aspect of how a data visualization should work. This is the data story that is expected from you. When you see a data visualization, it and the audience that we try to target, you think in terms of spectrums or axes, which means like you consider the connection between the two general forms of visualization, one being the static and the other being interactive. When you consider this static visualization will provide all the information at once, and they are not active or it doesn't move. The interactive visualization, the bottom part, is the one that allows transfer of information between the figure and the user. In general, the best visualization in this category follow 3-step mantra. It is overviewing first, and the second is zooming and filtering, and the third is details on demand. So these 3 mantras are required when you move forward with an interactive visualization effect in a visualizations that you provide. which means like when we speak about the other aspect, the other axis, the function axis, they fall into two other categories like explanatory visualization and exploratory visualization. When I speak about explanatory visualization, I bring the main results to the forefront. Like I surface the key findings to some extent, helping to reveal the story. But when I move to exploratory visualization, it helps the user to interact with the data set or subject matter to uncover the findings themselves. Which means like you need to understand the underlying crux, or you should have a domain knowledge to understand the dashboard completely, and then you explorate with different mappings of settings provided in the visualization, and then you derive insight which is not visible to you at the surface level. So when we move forward, there are four important quadrants when we dissect form and function into consideration, the spectrum into consideration, which means a static and explanatory, static and exploratory, interactive and explanatory, interactive and exploratory. Four forms are explained using a visual. I'll just give a gist of each of the forms in a single line. When I speak about static and explanatory, the graphs tend to be static and are used to reinforce a point made in the accompanying text. When I say as static and exploratory, these visualizations lead readers to discover their own stories as they examine the static representation of data. So infographics generally fall under static and explanatory. Certain data which needs to give you insights that you have to derive come under static and exploratory. So a little of domain knowledge is required for the exploratory side. Interactive and explanatory, it is perhaps the easiest explanatory interactive graph type. So you can consider having it as an interactive hover or rollover layered on top of the graph. So you can also find one more way to be much more interactive, and for the audience who are proficient in knowing the domain, by having the visual gadget to be present as a complete data set and asking the user to derive story from the data set or from the dashboard, which falls under interactive and exploratory way of handling data. Next slide, Lindsey. So in this particular slide, I just want to speak about the 3D mapping method and the 2D mapping method used by popular data visualization libraries, namely the Bouquet and Seaborn. So the benefit of using Seaborn is it creates a legend and uses different symbols for different classes automatically. One more benefit is like it uses a polished default style, which means like if you compare the point style in the two scatter plots above, Seaborn has a border around it, around the dot, to prevent the many points getting smudged, while Bouquet do not have that in hand. There is no border which is provided by Bouquet. So these are little detailed information which gives you much more clarity in the data that you dissect. So it also provides you an information of how good you are in projecting the data, how beautiful you give the data as a story to the audience. So can you move to the, can we go to the next slide, Lindsey? So in this particular slide, you can see a 2D visualization and a 3D visualization. So a 2D visualization differs from the 3D plot by having by changing the angle we look in the 3D shapes, which is called the viewport. This is controlled by the elevation angle. This elevation angle gives you the detail of how the data dispersion happens in a 3D space. That measurement obviously gives you an understanding for any real-time and critical development. For example, like we have an eigenvalue and eigenvectors which is getting dispersed in a 3D space. This visualization will give you the understanding of which feature actually impacts which point which point in a 3D in a 3D visualization, which that could be easily derived. This feature engineering could also be tuned later in a later stage by using this 3D visualization. So that is a major aspect of doing exploratory data analysis for any data set that is provided to you. It's not just making the data beautiful and displaying it. It's for you to understand what is the domain that you're working on, what does each of the feature contribution will be taken forward in your modeling, and how would you optimize and fine tune at a later stage with the data that you have. So this is the base idea to make you comfortable in this particular 7-day challenge. Can you move to the next slide, Lindsay? Okay. So said that, I think I have covered most of the tips and tricks that is required for exploring the data set. What is left out is this is one interactive exploratory type of dashboard which is designed, that's available. You can have a look into it and you can try to design one dashboard like this, and we are expecting to see much of such dashboards in our Slack community, which could also be projected in the social media as well as in your project folder, like project platform where you wanted to showcase. Okay. And the last one, yeah, how do you want to stand out from rest of the participants? It's like I would here suggest you to use the Feynman technique. Feynman technique is quite popular in who is a Nobel laureate, and he has provided 4 different steps to unlock the potential and develop a deeper understanding, which could be taken forward. The knowledge could be transferred to our data storytelling part as well, where he says you need to select a concept to learn, teach it to a child, review and refine your understanding, then organize your notes and revisit them regularly. So this could be obviously done using a data storytelling methodology. So you have to adopt or learn a concept, you need to teach it to a child, like you have to understand it in a much more layman terms, and then refine the way that you project your data and organize your notes and revisit them in your notebooks. So we expect you to follow the Feynman technique during your data presentation skills and during your exploratory analysis, and summarize the conclusion and findings in the data set that you have taken forward for your project as your project work. And the third would be like to add label, legends, and findings in the visualization. You can also add glossaries if it is required to understand the domain of the data set. You can also give explain hypothesis, create hypothesis, and then explain the hypothesis, get a proof for your hypothesis in the visualization. The significant feature and its impact in your visualization will stand out from others. So try to signify the feature which gives or impacts your modeling, your decision to model. These are certain aspects that we expect from you, and here is a link to use Colab notebooks in Kaggle, and I have also placed a link to the GitHub quick run through video, which you can have a look into these slides later. So this is all for today from our team, from the data science team. Here we are looking forward to your beautiful visualization and for your collaboration and correspondence. And I would like to quickly call upon Zainab Ibraheem, our wonderful data science track volunteer. And the stage is yours, Zainab.
Hi. Hi, my name is Zainab Ibraheem and I'm a volunteer at Data Science. I'm WWCode Data Science. And I'll be taking you through about the resource bank and how to navigate Slack and all. So yeah, there's a resource bank where you have that contains guides and tutorials and contacts that you can message on Slack, and you can use this resource bank for a lot of things, like maybe you need tutorials on Kaggle or Google Colab or anything that you need to help you guide you through your process. So Next slide, please. Now, the resource bank, like I said, contains tutorials and best practices for cargo. And if you look at the spreadsheet, you can actually click on any of these links and it will take you through to another page which contains resources that you can use. Like, let's take for instance, next slide please. You want to like get tutorials on cargo. If you click on this cargo tutorial here, it will take you to this next sheet that contains more details on cargo and anything that you need. And yeah, it's going to take you there. You can click on any of these links and it's going to take you to the website that contains the actual tutorial. Okay, next slide please. Yeah. Okay, and if you have questions or comments about the spreadsheet, the resource bank, or anything, you can contact these three on the Slack channel, and they're going to guide you through anything or answer any questions that you have. Okay, and you can also start a conversation on the Days of Code Cargo Challenge channel, and the moderators and the mentors are available to answer your questions every day. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. Also, you have to like learn in public. You have to engage on Slack to ask questions, start a conversation. Don't be shy about anything. Turn on your Slack notifications so that you get notifications in due time and to get any information and not miss out on anything on Slack. You can also like contact the Slack mentors to have details about what is going on Slack and everything, and anything that you have, any question that you have about the Slack, the project, the challenge at all, you can ask any of these people. You can also use the social media to share your progress and your work to so that you'll be able to like have more visibilities. You can use some hashtags over here. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yes, thank you. Okay, so if you want to turn on the Slack notification so you will not miss out on any information on Slack, you can click on the Slack title, the title of the channel that you want to turn this notification on for, and then the next thing you need to do is just click on the get notification, the settings for the get notification, and it's going to show up a place where you can turn on notifications for all messages or maybe just the ones that you were mentioned, maybe you that has like the old channel, or just you specifically. Maybe when you start a thread and ask questions, you might want to like get quickly notified quickly, so you can switch on all messages or just mentions like that. So I think it's the next slide. Yeah. Okay. So use social media, like I mentioned earlier. You use the hashtags on social media when at whatever stage you are. You can try to like share your progress and use hashtags so that we can see what you're doing, and other people that uses that hashtag or searches for this hashtag will be able to like see your work. And you can also tag us on LinkedIn on Women Who Code and Women Who Code Data Science, so that we'll be able to see your work, comment on it, and then you get more visibility for your work. So um, thank you very much, and you're welcome. Okay, these are the Slack mentors. You can contact them when you see these names on any of these days, like the 24th of January. You can contact this. Whenever you see this person online, you can ask questions and anything that you want to ask the person. The mentor will be available to answer your questions, and that is it. All right, so welcome. You are welcome to to the challenge, and we hope to see more of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Zainab. I really appreciate that overview. Yes, indeed. And also, as you're working through your projects, you can also tag people that you've been communicating with on the Slack channel, or your mentors, or anyone who's helped out. I encourage you to connect with each other, leverage this network as well, and boost each other's visibility as you work through these projects, and allow us to be a resource for that. So without further ado, I will open it up for questions and answers. We will check questions in the chat. Let's see here. It is disabled. We can do questions and answers on the channel as well. In fact, it will probably benefit everyone that wasn't available to join us today. Actually, they can check up on what was missed and get acclimated just looking through your guys' questions. So I apologize for that. We are available though. The Slack mentors are available. I'm available. The resource bank has contacts as well. There is always going to be someone here to guide you. So we definitely want you to reach out. I really appreciate your time with us today. Hopefully this was informative and kind of gives you some more guidance on how to get started. And we all look forward to seeing your work. And of course, we all know that there's a varying level of skill here. So do not be shy. If this is your first time submitting a Kaggle notebook to a public audience, we are not going to make you feel like you're not prepared for this. We're definitely going to give you a guiding hand, and we want people to be participating in this. So don't be shy. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you to Kirthikka. I really appreciated that great overview of the EDA. She's been a fantastic resource, especially for EDA and past events. So that was a good overview. She's very knowledgeable, so she probably has a lot more to share. Don't be shy again. And Zainab, thank you so much for getting us organized with the resource bank and sharing about how to access the mentors and how to learn in public. I very much appreciate your time. Thank you, everyone, and I hope to see you in the channel. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.